Welcome to the Prospect Warehouse podcast. This is your host, Tim Kanak. You can find me on X at Fantasy Aceball. And instead of Doc, because this is the Dynasty, this is supposed to be Doc's Dynasty Hour, and he's already bailed on his second episode ever. But we've got John here, at John PGH, Jon Anderson. So we're going to do a little reverse psychology on this one since it's Doc's birthday and he requested off, which I think I stopped doing after I was like 25. I was like, birthdays suck. I'm just going to keep working. So I don't think I've requested off on a birthday since about 25. How about you, John?
Oh, yeah. Well, see, for me, as you know, with young kids running around, like work is the relaxation. Like the perfect day is to not have to do my real job, but to be able to do baseball stuff. But we have something on the screen. Toto, how did that happen? All right, let's get rid of that. Okay. Yeah. Wait, no. We're all jacked up. All right, there we go.
Come on, young John. You're supposed to be a podcaster.
Well, we're scrambling here. No, you don't get your birthday after. Yeah, right. If you're a man, pretty much as soon as you have a child, it's over. You got to stop talking about your birthday. Like the lamest thing you can do is even mention that you have a birthday. It shouldn't exist in your mind.
Yeah, exactly. At that point in time, there's one birthday that matters. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I guess your kids too. Your kids got to matter. Well, what age do you stop caring? Or like for me, I have 5 kids.
About your kids' birthdays?
Well, okay, so I have 5 kids, and for the first couple, we would throw like parties and stuff like that. And I told my wife this had to be like, man. I don't know, this had to be I think when the 5th kid was being born, and I was like, we got to stop doing all these parties. I was like, it costs a ton of money each time. Like we're doing a whole thing. I'm spending like a ton of money on these things every single time. And I was like, instead of doing a party, what we're going to do is we're going to go somewhere for each kid's birthday. And then if people want to come, cool. Yeah. If the money, you want to come, it's on you. and then if you don't come, then I don't care. Like, so now my birthday, the kids' birthdays, which were like once like come to our house, we're going to throw a party. Like I had to get booze, I had to get a cake, I had to do all this stuff, right?
All right.
Like, a bunch of kids everywhere, a bunch of adults everywhere. Now it's like, hey, we're going to go to the museum. If you're not in, then screw you. And if you're in, then you're paying for yourself.
Yeah, we try to just stay away from friends anyway. So our birthdays, we dedicate one for every kid. And, we're only 7 years into having kids, so we're still relatively early on. But we don't have people over or have parties. We just have it with our family. And as soon as you start that's what the kids come to know, and that's what they get excited for. Like your kids will get excited for whatever you get them used to, right? They don't know. If they don't know about Disney World, you don't have to freaking worry about it, man. They'll never ask to go to Disney World, and you don't have to spend the money. So you keep things very simple, keep them cheap, and they'll still be excited because, kids can only see what's in front of them. So, but yeah, you have to pay close attention to your kids' birthdays for probably almost forever. I don't know, but I guess with like a boy, by the time he's like 22, I'm going to be like, all right, you're done, man. Like we're over this. But yeah, I don't think Doc called off specifically for the birthday. I think it's just a busy guy and stuff. But yeah, this is going to be. Last week was awesome because we really got to hear Doc like fully go off. I can't do that, so I'm going to be the host per se on this, and Tim's going to give you the analysis because I just don't know the prospects stuff like Tim does. So first base today, by the way.
Yes, first base. So John, why don't you go ahead and give us tier 1. We're gonna be doing the same thing.
We're doing
keep draft cut, our PG version of MFK.
Yes, thanks for that. We're definitely trying to keep it. We're good with jokes and the whatever the culture of just being dudes is, but we don't want to be too vulgar here for sure. So it's keep draft cut. It is correct me if I'm wrong, but draft would be the guy you want long haul. That's your favorite per se. Draft is the guy you're good with this year, but not long term, and then cut is the least favorite.
Yep, that's correct.
First option for you is Kurtz, Vlad, and Rice. So have at it.
All right. So Nick Kurtz is definitely going to be my keep out of this tier. We talked about Kurtz when we did our redraft episode recently. Yes. I'm down for him even over Vlad year over year. So 4 years younger, 23 versus 27. I'm definitely going to be more in on keeping Kurtz than Vlad. And Ben Rice, a lot of people might not realize that he is also 27 because he kind of just like popped out last year as like his breakout season, and he was already 26. So for dynasty leagues, one may want to keep that in mind that Rice is not like 23. He's not like 24, right? He's actually 27. So he's like kind of in his peak already. So you're not going to really get any age benefit. So if you had to pick between keeping Vlad or keeping Ben Rice, they're the same age, which is crazy because Vlad has been doing it for like 6 years or whatever in the pros, and Ben Rice is like a 1-year wonder guy so far. And I love Rice, but I'm definitely like if I have to keep Rice as a first baseman, right? If I'm like, you're not getting the catcher eligibility, and you kind of mentioned it in the last podcast. You probably are only going to get one more year of Rice with catcher eligibility. After that, it's probably going bye-bye. Maybe unless you're in Yahoo, where they basically give you eligibility just for like waking up.
If you look at the position,
you look at the position, you get the eligibility. You carry someone's catcher mask to them. Just here you go, dude, and you get catcher eligibility for carrying the mask. So, yeah, I would keep Vlad for this year and then cut Rice on this tier. So, keepers Kurtz, drafting Vlad for 1 year, and then Ben Rice is the cut. Not happy about cutting Rice, but it's a good tier. So
I guess dynasty guys are much more in tune with age because for redraft you don't care that much. Like 26 equals 23, whatever. For this year, a 26-year-old, 23-year-old, same thing. They're all kind of the same. Same with like if he was 29, if he's 31, who cares? Dynasty, much more important. But yeah, I think a lot of newer people or just less serious people probably don't realize Ben Rice's age because it's the same thing. Like him and Kurtz kind of popped up at the same time, and yet you kind of, if you don't look back into how long Rice has been around, you won't notice that. So that's interesting. But yeah, as a first baseman, I don't know. You're right. We talked about kind of all these guys last time anyway. These are major league relevant players, so we don't have to get into it again. But Rice's numbers look extremely good, even for like I'm tempted to be like, well, he's a great hitting catcher, but for first base, you don't have to rank him that high. But no, I like the numbers all look really good, and he certainly has a path to play 150 plus games at first for the Yankees. And then yeah, I guess you're hoping that he can get 10, 20 starts, whatever your league requires to have catcher eligibility, because still he's much more valuable there. So
yeah, in that tier, I have a question for you, John. Would you? You would even though you're Vlad over Kurtz for this year, you would keep Kurtz, right? If you're in a dynasty format.
Yeah. I think you've seen what like Vlad's best season is. It's not definitely behind him. He's still in the prime years. 2021, I'd say.
He's in a different home park.
Yeah, 2021 is his best season, and so you got to kind of take that out because it was a minor league stadium. It was like this. It was like this Rays thing last year. Everybody's aware of that. But people forget about that with Bichette and Vlad. They both had these massive years in 2021. They played half the year in Florida, and then they played Buffalo a little bit because Canada wouldn't let people into their country for COVID until 2022. Didn't they start 2022 even not able to play there or something like that? Maybe not, but
yeah, I think you're right. I think they had to, or maybe they changed it to flag, but they did talk about them doing all their road games at the beginning of the year and having all their home games at the second half.
Anyway, we're well past that. We got to stop talking about COVID. I'll never forget.
All right. So for redraft here for 1 year, Ben Rice as a first baseman versus Vlad as a first baseman. We're taking Vlad, but if if you can take Ben Rice as a catcher, would you rather have catcher Ben Rice versus Vlad first baseman for
Vlad's just so safe. You don't want to mess up a top 5 pick, and Rice, no matter what all the advanced stats and everything looks great. Everybody seems to fall into this idea that expected stats can't be wrong or they can't be noisy, and they sure can, man. I mean, Rice didn't play all year. It's less than one season of seeing it. So no matter what the advanced stats say, Vlad is so much safer. If one of these three is going to fall really short of what we're expecting, it's going to be Ben Rice for sure. So
yeah,
Vlad is safe. All right, next tier, let's go. Hopefully we get this right. Tier 2, we kind of had this debate again this last week. A lot of repeats early on, but we'll get into some more of the prospect names as we go. Harper, Devers, Alonso, keep, draft, cut. Go ahead.
Oof. Because Harper's 33 and Devers.
You're acting like I put you on the spot there. This was your whole idea, man. You didn't, you're acting like, oh, I didn't know you were gonna ask me that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this tier is tough because Devers has such an edge in age, right? Like it makes it tough because we talked about it that a lot of guys will just drop off the face of the earth at like 36. And so if you're keeping Bryce Harper, and like generally for Dynasty, I like to see things in like a 3-year window. Like I have a 3-year Dynasty ranking, John, and a 5-year Dynasty ranking. And these are, some of these tiers are cut from my 3-year Dynasty ranking rather than the 5, because that's kind of like what I'm going to go with. There's our aging curve.
Yeah.
So but you can see here.
Let's highlight that just while you're on this topic.
Yes. So you can see here where Harper is on that curve at 33. If you can line that up with your eyes, if you're watching on YouTube or XVision, you're putting that at like that 99, whatever on the left. The next couple of years are a pretty big drop off. Like you're expecting a decent drop off.
That's just exit velocity, but I imagine most skills follow the same.
Yeah, bat speed and exit velocity and all that is.
But even Devers is already on the downslope at 29. So
yeah. So I feel like keeping wise, even though I love Harper, I like the ballpark better for like a 5 to 5 year period. I guess I'm probably going to go Devers in this tier here. And then for drafting, because I think I'm going to get the best bang for my buck for this year from Bryce. So I'm going to go Bryce. Everyone's going to be on Alonso with like we talked about it. Everyone's going to love, Alonso now with the Orioles. What a great team. But like the Mets had a pretty good offense around him last year. Yeah. So it's like, is it really that much better than the offense he was in last year? I feel like as long as Harper's healthy, he's going to perform better. So my cut's going to be Alonso here. I'm going to be drafting Harper, and I'm going to keep Devers just because of that aging curve that we just looked at. 4-year difference is pretty big difference.
Yeah, one of the things I was most confused about looking at first base ADP is this gap between Alonso and Harper. I mean, it's pretty clear to say Kurtz and Vlad, but then Alonso's on an island here. This is just redraft, obviously, this year's ADP without any consideration for the future. But Alonso in the top 30, and then there's a 13 or 23 pick gap to Harper and Olsen and Devers and Rice kind of all clumped together. It's like, is Alonso really like, why? I know he's not younger than Devers. I just didn't understand that. So I think he should be back. I think he is a little bit overrated. I don't know. Just like, do people just see a team change and think good? Because not all of them are good.
I do think people think that. It's kind of crazy to say that, but it's true because like if you look back through the last 3, 4, 5 years, Alonso and Olsen are basically like glued at the hip. Like those two guys are like picked like right next to each other. And then now all of a sudden they're like separated. It's why. It's just because Alonso signed a new team. That's literally the only excuse.
And RBIs kind of went crazy, but why can't Olsen do that too? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's strange. All right. So it was cut Harper, keep Devers.
No, draft Harper,
cut
Devers,
Alonso.
Cut Alonso.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. We're breezing through it, but we'll spend more time on some of the newer names. Let me get this right. Tier 3, here we go. Still names we've talked about a bunch. We have a five bagger here. You've got to keep 2. You got to cut 2. Draft 1 for this year. It's Sal Stewart, Michael Busch, Tyler Soderstrom, Jack Caglione, and Matt Olson, the old guy there at 32. So a 10-year age difference between the max and the min here. I'm sure that'll factor in.
Yeah, this one's fun. This is an interesting tier. So obviously, like I'm a big Sal Stewart guy, right? Like I'm saying he's going to be the best redraft rookie. I even got into it on the podcast with Ponce. He was like JJ. I would pick JJ over Sal. My hesitation with that one is that like Sal is basically guaranteed to break camp, where JJ there's like no guarantee. Still, there's like some Cardinals could always do the whole Super 2 thing and whatever. So like he could lose 2-3 weeks, which is a big difference in games played. 15 games is kind of a thing for like the Roto League, especially. So here in this tier, I'm going to be keeping Sal Stewart, 22 years old, best hit tool in this tier. There's guys with better power than him, but he's got the best hit tool. He's got the best plate skills. And while he's probably not going to hit some of the quantities of home runs of these other guys, I feel like him in the middle of that Reds lineup, he's got the stadium on his side. and he's got youth. So I'll take him for the next few years in Great American Small Park for sure. So Stewart is going to keep. That leaves us to my next keep, which, looking at these guys, is going to be Soderstrom or Jack, right? Like those two guys are, Soderstrom's 4 years younger than Bush. Jack is 5 years younger than Bush. So who, if I have to keep one of these guys for the next 3, 4, 5 years, am I going to go with? We talked about last podcast, Michael Bush's bat speed. And like I even joked on the last podcast, I was like, yeah, I'm not concerned right now because he's in his peak. But like when you have poorer or like below average bat speed, that's like the first thing that goes when you get older. So like when he's 32, 33, like that could just fall off a complete cliff. I mean, it could even be 30 or 31 where that happens. I don't want to be stuck with Bush and like where Soderstrom and Caglione are upticking.
Wrigley can be rough on power too. Not always, but the corners are super deep. You know, it's a weird park, so you can't depend on it.
Yeah, exactly. So that means my second keep is going to be one of Soderstrom or Jack Caglione. And that comes down to how much do I trust Caglione's contact rates in the minors? And do I think that that will translate to the majors? Last podcast, I went on a little bit of a thing talking about how his minor league numbers were so much better. You can't just take these major league numbers and run with that. Like, I think he's going to get much better. But I feel like Soderstrom at this point is so safe. He still hits the crap out of the ball. He hits the ball very hard. Yeah. Not as hard as Jack. Maybe you're going to lose 5 or 10 home runs ultimately when you're going peak to peak with these two guys. But I feel like Soderstrom is going to have a much safer batting average. Like Soderstrom to me seems like potential 270 hitter with like 25 bombs, 30, but maybe he gets up to 30. He's got the power. He hits it hard enough to get to 30. So I think he could be, a consistent, like he had 25 last year. I think he could be a consistent 30 homer guy who's hitting 270s, 280s. Whereas Jack might be like hitting 240s, 250s with 35 bombs. I'm going to take Soderstrom. I'll take the bat that we talked about. How many home runs is like 10 batting average points worth? How many home runs is 20 batting average points worth? We might be talking here 30 or 40 batting average points for 5 to 10 home runs. I'll take Soderstrom. I think he's going to be more consistent. He's going to be hitting in a really good ballpark, at least for the next 2-3 years in the minor league stadium. So I'm definitely going to be taking that as my keep here. For Soderstrom.
Yeah, not many dudes can do what Soderstrom did last year. K rate under 23%, 272 expected batting average, 11.4 barrel rate. So, I mean, go ahead and pull. One of the things you can do on my dashboard that I've been doing kind of since I started it, it was one of my first like little gimmicky things. Filter to low K rates, high barrel rates. That's a pretty good indicator of who a good hitter is, and Soderstrom's in that conversation. So, you've kept Stewart and Soderstrom, meaning you're probably drafting Caglione, or do you just cut them since you're not keeping them?
Well,
you don't really want them for this year as much as the future, I guess.
Yeah. On the draft side, the point of this exercise is that you're only going to get the guy for 1 year, right?
Yeah, so it's like, Olsen.
Yeah, so that that would make no sense. But actually, I have Michael Bush ranked ahead of Olsen for this year. While
I think that's wrong.
It might be. I mean, like people might think that. I don't know. Like this is the thing. Michael Bush, didn't he have more home runs than Olsen last year? He had 30. Michael Bush had 34. Olsen had 29.
Yeah.
Olsen has only had 29 home runs in the last 2 seasons.
Right.
So his power has already started kind of like down ticking. And Olsen is going to be 32 this year, and Bush is going to be 28. Bush is closer to that peak still. I trust Bush for batting average more than Olsen. Like Olsen had some like 240 seasons. He bounces around. Like Olsen's batting average is so BABIP dependent, it like bounces around quite a bit. I think Michael Bush is a pretty solid 260 to 280 hitter. Like I think that's almost banked. Where Olsen could have like a 240 batting average and get the same number of RBI. Olsen will probably get more RBI, or I mean the same number of home runs. Olsen will probably get more RBI. They might have the same amount of home runs. But again, I'm going to take the batting average here. I think Bush is just going to for sure hit for a better batting average. So I'm going to go with Bush over Olsen.
I just haven't seen him. We've had one good year for Michael Bush. I mean, maybe we would have had more if he weren't stuck in the Dodgers minor leagues forever. But just 2 years ago, he only hit 248 with 21 homers in a full season with a 29% K rate. So I think you're kind of the Olsen price being higher is probably just a testament to we know who he is a lot more, but not terrible. I'm certainly on Olson well above Bush, but decent.
Yeah,
case.
I mean, if you think it from a value perspective too, like I'm thinking about it straight up. But if you're thinking from a value perspective, you just showed their ADPs.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you take the 3 or 4 rounds and just take Bush if you're like, I can bank. Like, if you're drafting in the 4th round and you have Matt Olson on the board,
right.
wouldn't you say I can 100% bank that I can get Michael Bush in the 7th round here or whatever? Wouldn't you rather just skip on Olson, pick someone else, and then like
or I can get Torkelson at 190, and they're all somewhat similar. It's a good point. Like Olson's type isn't hard to replace. He's just a safer bet to do it. So yeah, I'm not in love with Olson at pick 50, but that's a fine point. But for this year, if you're just asking me to pick who will have a better season this year, I'll take Olson. Just the odds seem to be there.
Yeah, I just I'm leaning that age and the batting average is really what pushes me. So Jack and Olson are my cuts. That means.
Yeah, I guess it might not go super well for Caglion this year, as he still maybe needs to adjust. We didn't see it in the majors, but I just he did have a high contact rate in the majors too, and he hit the ball so hard. So I don't know. I guess a lot of dudes, like maybe he's Jordan Walker, where we got kind of all expected Walker to figure it out after the year or two, and it just never happened. So that's in the back of my mind with Jack, but we'll see. He's definitely. If I had a list of
you had a 172 BABIP.
Like, right. Yeah.
Nobody hits a 172 BABIP, so it's like obviously he's going to do better. Like, he's definitely going to do better, but it's like how much better, right? Is more like the question.
Yeah.
Not like will he be better? It's just like how much better.
Yeah, can he lift it? Will he be one of these guys that all the EV is into the ground? We need to come up with a term for that. Like, I guess there's like the worm burner or whatever. But some of these guys just have swings that put all the EVs into the ground, which doesn't do any good. All right, tier 4, clean here. You have cut ×2 on the screenshot, but we'll do one of each. 3 players: Spencer Torkelson, Vinny Pasquantino, and the 21-year-old Bryce Eldridge. So this will be an interesting one. Keep, draft, cut.
Yeah, this is an interesting one for sure. I think I have to keep Eldridge just because you've got a 5-year gap here. I think at this point in time, we know who Torkelson and Vinny P are.
But they're major leaguers. You don't know if Eldridge is that.
You don't. And he's not in a great ballpark for power. Yeah. So you really don't. It's like, oh, what could Eldridge turn into? He could turn into Vinny P. He could turn into Torkelson, right?
Or Kyle Schwarber, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like that's a good question. But if I'm thinking about it for the next 3, 4, 5 years, like I'm not just thinking about it for this year. It's like, I know Vinny P at 28, by the end of this keeper period, he's going to be worse than he is in this first season that I have him. Right.
Yeah.
Like it's almost guaranteed at this point in time. Torkelson is 26, so he's entering his prime. So it's very possible that Torkelson is going to have, if I'm seeing this from a 3-year perspective, 3 really nice years right now because he's entering his peak. Where Eldridge has a ton of upwork to go. So like I just feel like from a value perspective, over the course of the next 3, 4, 5 years, I'll probably be able to, if I was trading stocks here, be able to trade Eldridge for more over that time period. I feel like he's going to get better. So I'm going to keep Eldridge. Maybe it's a little risky, but if you don't play the game, then you're never going to find out.
Again, like what these guys turn into are all pretty replaceable. These first basemen that can hit homers and don't steal bases and do okay at batting average. Like, it's not that hard to find those guys. So this is kind of a replaceable type of player. So it makes sense to gamble on the bigger upside.
Yeah, also Eldridge may get like outfield eligibility too. So there's with Devers obviously there. So are they really going to make a 21-year-old their DH? I mean, come on. Yeah. Like, he's probably going to play in the outfield and then he'll at least get like dual eligibility. Torkelson is already like not the greatest defender, right? So I think for redraft purposes, for keeping for 1 year, I'm going to have to go Vinny P. But if this was like 2 or 3 years that I could keep a guy, like if it was keep cut, I would be cutting Vinny P and keeping Torkelson. Like, I would keep Torkelson ahead of Vinny P if I was keeping a second guy. But because I'm only picking them for 1 year, I'm going to pick Vinny P for that 1 year, but over like a 2-3 year period, it would be Torque because he's going to be 26. He's going to be entering his prime. Vinny P, yeah, they're moving the fences in. People keep talking, oh, they're going to move the fences in. Great. It's going to be better. But like, he's going to be getting older. So his bat speed's probably going to be getting worse like by the end of 2-3 years. So like if it was keep cut, it'd be keep Eldridge and Torque. But, you know,
do you
think that answers the question there?
Yeah, I think that's the right way to go. Do you think you're in your prime right now? I mean, like I feel like I'm at my prime and everything at 35. So it's nice to not be a pro athlete, I guess. But
physical prime, no. I'm definitely getting older, unfortunately. I'm still in good shape. I'm maintaining for sure. But I feel like
you were always pushing it, I guess. You were always seeing what you could do. I never really pushed. I ran a marathon 7 years ago, but other than that, I haven't really been pushing it.
Yeah, well, I'm like a crazy health person. So like I did like a biomarker. What's it called?
All right, yeah, that's
all right. We'll get into one second. Function health. I did a function health thing. Check this out, so you can see I'm not lying. I am. We're gonna show everybody here. I'm 38 years old, and here I am. I'm 38 years old, and check this out. Biological age, 27.2. Boom.
Okay.
That's what happens when you eat healthy, like me. Because
did you send in like blood samples or something, or?
Yeah, I did like 1,000. I went to Quest like 3 different times. Each time they drained me of like 100 blood vials. Then they tell you your cells, like how you're doing, all this stuff. So I'm pretty good. The one thing that has some concerns is my liver from my heavy drinking days back in the day. Now I'm a little bit better. I try to drink only like once a week from now on. I very healthy. I work out every day. I eat very healthy. I get my one vice is my one-time drinking once a week, and that's about it. Besides that, like I'm pretty on point. But like physically, no, I definitely was in better shape before, and it's harder for me to maintain. But mentally, definitely getting better. I feel like as you age, until you get to like Alzheimer's level, you get smarter and smarter just because of wisdom. So probably until you're like 65 or 70. And you start getting like brain fog and fatigue, like brain fatigue. Like I feel like you're probably gonna just keep getting smarter and smarter mentally.
Don't think too much about it. You know, you can't win in the end.
Yeah, well, there's that guy who says don't die in the next 10 years because we're gonna figure out this aging thing.
Who would want that?
Then brings it to a thing where you're like, okay, from a religious standpoint, am I supposed to die?
Of course.
I believe, like, if you're a believer in God and Jesus and heaven, and it's like, do you really want to not die? Like what? Like the thing is, like, you almost need like a prophet to come at that point in time. When that happens, when they invent a way to like not die, we almost need like a new prophet to come and be like, hey, God says that you should probably die.
Right.
Or like you should probably not live forever. Maybe it's okay to live a little bit longer. Maybe it's cool to go to like 200. But like, you definitely don't want to live forever because then you're circumventing the whole
Apostle Paul had a pretty rough life, so you can kind of get it. But his thing was, I want to be dead. I'd like to go to heaven right now. Why do I want to be here? So if you have that mindset, you don't even really want to live very long at all. But you got to balance it.
But what about the early humans in Genesis? They were living to like 500 or 600. Like they were living forever, and even in like the Exodus and stuff, they were still living to like 120 or 140 or whatever.
Methuselah was 900 or something like that. But before flood,
I guess it's okay to live to 900 then. That's biblical. So you have approval to live to 900 as long as you just eventually.
But then, buried there in Genesis is one line about how, I guess you could interpret it different ways, but the max age might be 120. That's part of the curse after the flood.
Yes.
Well, probably most people listening to this think we are all crazy for actually believing Genesis is literal, which I do, but interesting talk. So if you ever hear of anybody living well past 120, let me know, because that might disprove something that I might think the Bible is trying to tell us. But I haven't found anybody. Everybody I can find is like 120 point something, and then they die. So tier 5, you're going to cut to this time. It's Jonathan Aranda, Alec Burleson, Josh Naylor, and Freddie Freeman.
See, this one's tougher because you got 3 guys all in the same age range here, and then you've got old man Freddie Freeman. So, interestingly, I'm just going to get my draft out of the way. I'm going to draft Freddie Freeman, right? Freddie Freeman is going to be the best out of all these guys this year. So I'm drafting Freddie Freeman, even though he's getting older. And even though he's probably not going to play in 20, 25, 30 games, I think he's going to be the best guy still out of all these guys. So I'm going to draft. I mean, like he's in the middle of the best lineup in baseball now. It's like you got Kyle Tucker there, not too. It's like it's ridiculous. So I want a piece of that lineup. So I'll draft Freddie Freeman. And for keeping, oh man, Aranda and Burleson is a tough one. Like Naylor's not going to repeat. Like he's for sure a cut. He's the oldest out of those three guys. Like that. So that one's easy. So now in between Aranda and Burleson, I have to keep one and cut one. Burleson, and this may be counterproductive or counter thought process. Burleson is 1 year younger. So if you're not watching, if you're listening to this podcast and you're not watching on YouTube or XVision, Burleson is going into age 27 season, and Aranda is going into age 28 season. fScores love Aranda's hit tool. Hit tool's way better. John highlighted that his BABIP was also like ridiculously high last year, so always take that into account too. He's probably not going to have that high of a batting average again, but should he hit 290? Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Doubles machine. I like Burleson, but I think I'm going to go Aranda here. There is platoon risk. It's the Rays. You're going to have platoon risk. You're going to have a risk that he's going to get traded at some point here in this. And then for...
None of these guys are great for keeper leagues, that's for sure.
Yeah, Burleson, I mean, like, it's the Cardinal Stadium sucks for lefties. He's probably going to be hitting third, fourth, something for a while. So I kind of like Burleson a little bit, but I'm going to just go Aranda because I think it's a bit safer.
If you had Freeman in Dynasty, is it worth trying to trade him, or do people just not buy that? You just write it out.
I mean, and if you are not going to compete this year, if your team kind of sucks and you've got Freddie Freeman, and trade him for a prospect now, because someone can't compete this year will take him. But like no one's going to be buying Freddie Freeman for dynasty purposes for like more than 1 year.
Yeah. 36 is really, really old. Not many guys even make it that long. So So it was keep Freeman, or sorry, it was draft Freeman, keep Aranda, but you were very hesitant to do it. Cut Naylor, cut Burleson, but Burleson was close. And that takes us to tier 6. As I look for the screenshot, we have 7 players here with a good mix of age, a couple undebuted prospects, along with an old man in Wilson Contreras. This is tier 6. So you get to keep 2, you get to draft 2, and you get to cut 3. It's Kyle Manzardo, Ryan Clifford, Wilson Contreras, Smerlin Valdez, CJ Kifus, Kobe Mayo, and Spencer Steer.
Yeah, this tier is pretty interesting. And it's kind of difficult because they're kind of a blob in my mind, which is why I made this tier. And I made this one hard. I did it 2-2-3 on purpose because I wanted to like make it hard for Doc to see what Doc was going to say. But now I've got to answer it. So it's like,
but like the keeps are probably going to, you're looking at Clifford or Valdez probably.
So I'm definitely going to be drafting Wilson Contreras. He is 100% a draft. That's the easiest one that I'm going to get out of the way. And then the cuts, I'm definitely going to cut Kobe Mayo. Like that is 100% a cut.
Yeah.
So cutting Kobe Mayo 100%, keeping Wilson Contreras 100%. Now my 2 keeps, I'm between 3 guys here. Manzardo, Clifford, and Valdez are my 3 guys. I am definitely going to keep Ryan Clifford. I really like Ryan Clifford. And I think one of the reasons that the Mets were okay with letting Alonso walk is that Clifford can easily just like step up and be the next Alonso. He has the same profile. Like he has the profile of a 240, 30 home run guy. Like a 240 hitter, 30 home run, big time RBI guy. Like that's what Clifford's profile is. He hits the crap out of the ball. Really good EVs, solid contact even. So I'm going to definitely, we've got Clifford's fScores up here. 157 age adjusted WRC plus. Love that. And he'll probably be up this year sometime. So it's not like you're going to lose a lot of value with him sitting in the minors, like we might with Valdez.
Yeah, here's Valdez. 21.
So Clifford is a definite keep for me. So now I'm between, okay, am I going to keep Manzardo or am I going to keep Valdez? Manzardo is 3 years older than Valdez. Valdez just went off in the Arizona Fall League. But the Pirates also just signed Ryan O'Hearn, not for 1 year, but for 2 years.
Yep.
how long are they going to let? What if as Miralyn Valdez? He's definitely starting in AAA. He's not going to break camp. Clifford has a chance maybe to break camp, maybe. I expect Clifford to play at least half a year this year. Valdez may not play in 2026 at all, because of the Ryan O'Hearn signing. And you've got Horwitz also who can play first, right?
His contact rates are pretty concerning too. Not overly so, I guess. A 98 discipline, 97 hit tool, but it's possible he just strikes out a ton and they don't have any reason to bring him up.
I mean, he had a big time breakout year. He's fun to follow on social medias too. So going Narrative Street, Doc here. All right, Doc's not here. Yeah. So zoom in on my face. Zoom in on my face. We have to go.
Okay, yeah.
We have to do it because Doc is not here. I have to pretend I'm Doc, right? So let me bring up Esmirlin Valdez Arizona Fall League stats right now. I'm going to bring up his Arizona Fall League stats because this is what Doc would do, right? Actually, Doc would say Esmirlin Valdez is from the Dominican Republic. He was born in the back of a car, and
how close to 9/11 was he born?
And had cloth diapers when he was a baby. So Esmirlin Valdez in the Arizona Fall League hit 368, 513, 842. Good for a 1355 OPS, the second best OPS in the Arizona Fall League to Max Anderson. He had 8 home runs in the Arizona Fall League and 27 RBI. And he walked 19 times and only struck out 12 times, which might be the most important part of that whole thing. Right, John? Because you were concerned about the strikeout rate. So if he has fixed that, is that him fixing it? Or is that the
Arizona Fall League?
The best pitcher?
You're talking about a couple weeks against all kinds of weird different competition. I wouldn't take it.
So, that's why it's Doc Narrative Street minute, right? We have 1 minute of every Doc Dynasty hour. We have to have 1 minute of Narrative Street. So there's your Narrative Street in this podcast.
He's a righty too. Is he a righty or switch?
He's a righty, and also he's a big social media. He's a big social media guy. He's always posting his workouts on social media. He's fun. He does weird stuff where he's like doing this. He does like football workouts where he's got like a ton of weight behind him and he's like pulling the sled and stuff like that. So he's a fun dude. But I think I'm going to keep him over Manzardo. I just think that the ceiling's higher. I'm going to lose a year. So he's not going to play in 2026. I think he could get cup of coffee 2026 and break camp 2027.
Does this give you any pause that he uploaded a very blurry picture of himself on his birthday? I mean, couldn't they retake that or something?
I don't know, man. Maybe his mom took that picture. Like, how do you know? Maybe his girlfriend took that picture, and he's like, I don't care, she's hot, whatever, and just like he's not gonna criticize the hot girl's photo taking abilities because then it's gonna ruin his day, man. So anyway, I'm gonna take Valdez here, even though I love Manzardo's stash. So those are gonna be my 2 keeps, and then I'm gonna draft Manzardo and Contreras. So that makes my draft decision easier to draft Manzardo because Valdez will not play this year. So I would not have drafted Valdez. So I'm going to draft Manzardo and Contreras. And then I'm cutting Kafis, Mayo, and Steer.
Yeah, I got a bargain on Steer in the Dynasty League for our thing. I guess I just kind of, whenever a guy came up, I said my target value is this, and I'll just bid like $2 under it. And even if I don't like them, like if I get them for a $2 discount, like I'll take it. It's 10% of the full. So I ended up with them, but not because I like them. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't seem like very high upside. At best, he gives you like okay fantasy stuff, and they might just have to stop playing him. So that seems pretty clear to me. Steer, a 28-year-old, hasn't done anything all that special. But right now, if you're just talking about this year, production-wise, it's probably ordered Contreras, Manzardo, Steer, because you just might not see the rest of these guys. Maybe Kifis is in there, but
yeah, Steer's consistent. I mean, he'll hit 240 with 20 bombs and 70-70. So like,
where's he play now though? Because he was mostly first base last year, and Stewart's going to take that. So you're going to just stick in the outfield,
left field, DH. I mean, like, remember they don't have they don't have what's his face anymore? Who's on the Rays now? What's his name? The guy
Fraley.
Yeah, Fraley. So they don't have Fraley anymore. They don't have Austin Hayes anymore. So their outfield is like Friedel and Noelvi Marte. And like, what else? Do they even have another outfielder? That's why I'm like so big on Hector Rodriguez for this year.
Lux went to Tampa as well.
Yeah, Lux is gone. So I mean, probably a good chance Steer is left fielder, I guess, to start the year.
Let's hope so. Anything else for tier 6?
Nope, that's it for tier 6, I think.
I think we have one more before the massacre. Oh no, this is the massacre. All right, so You'll probably just want to, flip on the screen here. If you're on anything but Apple Podcasts, there's an option to look at it. I don't know if I'm going to read all these names. It looks like 20 names or something, but just tell us.
You don't want to read off who you're killing here?
It's Long, Vargas, White, Shanaway, Arise, Casas, Luke Adams, Tolia, Otto Kemp, Horwitz, Tyler Locklear, Vaughn, Sosa, O'Hearn, Romy Gonzalez, Christian Walker, CES, Yandy Diaz, Josh Bell, Nate Lowe, Callan Moss, Jake Berger, Mountcastle, Xavier Isaac, Reese Hoskins, Paul Goldschmidt, and Jake Bowers. Some of these guys you won't even see. At least 3 of these names you won't even see in the major leagues this year. All kinds of different ages. You got the 38-year-old unsigned Goldschmidt the whole way down to the 22-year-old Luke Adams, Callan Moss. So just give us, I guess, some general thoughts about who you would lean on keeping, who you like for the future, and who you're less excited about.
All right. So for this tier, you can see if you're watching, the purple guys are all the prospects. All right. That makes it nice and easy. So we got Xavier Isaac from the bottom, Callan Moss. I have to mention Callan Moss because that's like a Doc favorite.
Fan of the show.
He is now blocked. Like Esmeralyn Valdez.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I thought Doc blocked him on Twitter. So I was like, what happened?
Oh, no. I mean, Esmeralyn Valdez is totally blocking Callan Moss right now in the org depth chart. And Ryan O'Hearn is blocking him. So unless one of those guys is going to play some outfield, he's kind of blocked a little bit.
Pirates do not have a DH. In fairness, the Pirates are one of these teams that just can't find a DH. It's pathetic. So there's there's an extra spot there. Unless they're probably going to do the one more year with McCutchen thing, which I think I kind of want to talk about because McCutchen's being a huge baby about it on social media. He thinks he's like freaking Albert Pujols. Oh, they brought back Albert Pujols from for his last year. It's like, okay, McCutchen, like we like you in Pittsburgh. You're the best baseball player that they've had, since, before Skeens, I guess. But I don't know. You're not Pujols, and you don't really deserve a contract at 39 when you're not all that great anymore. He's good enough. Anyway,
the Cardinals did with Matt Carpenter for a year, and he was terrible. And I feel like,
they will do it. They will do it. But
they should. If he's the 26th man, it's like, who cares?
For the future, point being that Moss or Valdez or O'Hearn, they can fit in together because somebody needs to hit in the DH spot.
Yep. So other prospects here, CES. I still got. We did not have major league fScores for CES, so I put his minor league fScores on there. Just not really a fan. I talked about him. Tyler Locklear, who I think is going to be supplanted by Paul Goldschmidt ultimately at first base for Arizona. Otto Kemp, who's kind of like a corner infield depth player, not going to start. Yeah. Luke Adams is good. I like Luke Adams a lot. Tommy White, I like. I drafted him actually in the MLB Data Warehouse draft just recently. And Jonathan Long.
Who does Tommy White play for? Athletics. Okay.
The Athletics. Yeah, Tommy Tanks, baby, from the LSU days.
So we have 2 Thomas Whites coming up.
Thomas White is the pitcher. Tommy White is the third baseman. So slash first baseman. I don't know. For the Athletics, I know this is the first-based podcast. He's probably going to end up at third just because they have Soderstrom and Kurtz and all these guys. So he probably will play third. Which we talked about with Jeff Ponce on that pod. So those are the prospects here. And I don't think I'm keeping any of them. If I was going to keep one of them, it would probably be Long or White, who are my highest rated prospects out of these 2 guys. But I don't think I'm going to keep any of these guys because I think that there's a better keeper out of our white guys here, who are the white guys
on the sheet. Everybody.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Cajuns here. I'm talking about the white guys on the sheets. So I'm going to go. This is a tough one.
Will he pick a white?
Because this is a tough one because
they're mostly white. This is a white list for players. Yeah.
I'm probably I'm like Tristan Casas or Miguel Vargas is who I want to keep out of these 2 guys. Those are the 2 that I'm looking at for keepers here. I'm gonna Vargas is more of a shoe-in. I feel like he's much safer, but Casas has so much power upside.
I'm Shanaway if you're in a points league.
Oh yeah, if you're in a points league, Shanwell is he's solid. He's like some like Anu, he's like a 5-point per game guy.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with Vargas. Like Vargas was also a higher rated prospect, and we saw him kind of breaking out a little bit with the White Sox, and he's entering his peak, so there might be more room. He might get better from last year. It's not like that's it for him. He still has room to progress and get better. So I'm going to keep Miguel Vargas out of all these guys. Now, draft-wise, I talked about Casas. Do you want to take the gamble and assume the power's going to come up? We have Luis Arias here, who's a bank to boost your batting average, 100%. But what else is he going to give you? Yeah. Then we've got a guy further down on the list, Christian Walker,
Yeah,
And we've
one
got
more year.
Nate Bell.
Maybe 30 homer season from Walker. That's not a bad idea for this year.
Yeah, I think for this year, like my gamble is: are you going to gamble that Tristan Casas is healthy and can like stay on the field and actually hit for power, or are you going to take a little bit of a bounce back for
Where would
Christian
he
Walker?
play? Where they could DH him
Yeah,
against
I know they've
our
actually
team?
well
No.
DH probably. I think that what I would do for this year is I would pick Christian Walker and just hope that like he bounces back like halfway. Maybe you're not going to get like
But
2024 Christian Walker, but maybe you get some sort of
yeah,
combination between 2024 and 2025.
he was so
So
bad last year and still hit 31 homers.
yeah,
So
exactly. He was
that's
better in the second half. He was not. He was
right.
terrible in the first half. The second half, he was at least like playable. It was.
And
It was
still,
decent.
it's still a 30 homer season, which is valuable. So even with that, even if he doesn't bounce back, like you're still probably okay if you're talking about a deep league, which we are at this point. So
Yep, exactly. So keep Miguel Vargas, draft Christian Walker, and cut all the rest.
Tolia's with the Reds. Isn't that somewhat interesting? Mike Tolia, 27-year-old, getting away from Cord. People typically don't like. No, but
Isn't
there's
he?
some
Isn't he just the plan B for Sal Stewart? He's
It
just
was a
like the
minor
back.
league contract, but
Yeah.
if something happens and injuries happen all the time, I don't know. He has a ton of power from both sides of the plate. It just seems like the Rockies might have given up on him too quick. And sometimes getting away from cores, just getting away from the up and down and the constant losing, like that's not always a bad thing. So
Yeah.
you would cut him for sure, just because you're very likely, probably at least a 60% chance you just never see him again in an everyday role in the major leagues. But someone I'm kind of keeping an eye on. O'Hearn, you probably had to consider for drafting. Pirates could be a 40th percentile offense or something like that, and he's very solid for what he does. No big
He'll
upside
hit in the
any
middle of that
category.
lineup too.
Yeah,
So tons of probably a decent amount of counting stats for O'Hearn.
Yeah.
And the Pirates' offense will probably be a little bit better than normal. Like
he could have
maybe not even a little bit. Maybe like better, like incrementally better.
He could be hitting right behind Connor Griffin, Brian Reynolds. That's not the worst top two ahead of you. Things are changing a little bit. Nate Lowe, he's a free agent, I guess. I think he's probably cooked. Jake Berger can still hit some home run. Berger and Christian Walker are somewhat similar, but saw Berger was so bad last year that he went to the minors. So, and then Xavier Isaac, the new brain. We'll see what kind of player he is with his new brain. That could be bad.
Yeah, maybe he can actually hit lefties now.
They give him they give him a right-handed guy's brain, and now he'll.
Yeah. And you got Goldie on here too. So I mean, like Goldie, if he signs with the Diamondbacks, I almost expect like him to be better if he's with the Diamondbacks. I feel like he'll get like, I don't know. That's me being like the guy who watched Albert Pujols just have this like miraculous final Cardinal season. Like Goldie's a good guy.
They're not going to give Goldschmidt the juice baseballs that they gave Pujols.
Yeah, but I think Goldie could hit 20 bombs. If he goes to Arizona, he could hit 20 bombs and hit like 270, and then he's not going to get a ton of playing time because they might platoon him a little bit here and there. But I feel like he could still hit 20 bombs and hit like 270 and have some counting stats.
Steal 7 bags too, probably.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So that's the massacre. That's I don't know, 30, 40, 50 first baseman mentioned, or at least on the screen, and that's your first base redraft ranks with our favorites, our least favorites, and some short-term insight as well. So what's coming up next? Do we have another first base podcast, or what are we moving on to next week?
Next is going to be a first base prospect podcast. Talking to a couple people, trying to nail down a guest. It seems like everyone's busy this weekend for some reason. So I'm like trying to find a guest here for this one. I'll get someone though, and we'll get that rolling, but you'll get a first base prospect podcast with a guest. And after that, we're going to be moving to, I think next week, like I said, we're going to move from like the least interesting
to
the
second base.
I think I've got like relief pitchers or something for next week, which we're not going to have a prospect relief pitcher podcast because I feel like prospecting relievers, like a lot of relievers are just like failed starters, like a lot of the best relievers. So there's like no point.
You can't see it coming.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll probably just have like one relief pitcher podcast. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start talking about like some of the back end of my top 150 for prospects, just to get you another podcast out there. So that is what you have to look forward to for next week. And then make sure you subscribe to MLB Data Warehouse. We've been getting a lot of subscribers recently. Saw someone on Twitter. They said, "Oh, great content, Tim. I subscribed to MLB Data Warehouse." So, like we got some people. Remember, mention me and mention Doc when you subscribe. So I appreciate the sign up. And make sure you also purchase the prospect package, which is not just all prospects. Like some people have asked me, like, is it just prospects? Is it just the write-ups, or what is this? And that also has draft cheat sheets for redraft, for 3-year and for 5-year. It has all the positions all cut up. It's got the prospects cut up for each of those positions. If you're just looking at the prospects, and it's giving you my top 150 prospect rankings. It's actually top 165. Then you're also going to get on there positions. So it's going to give you all the positions and all the best prospects for each organization. So it's got a lot of stuff in there. There's tons of stuff in there. And it's all editable too. So if you're like, Tim is wrong on this guy, you can move it around. First year player draft stuff is in there for those types of people. International draft stuff is in there. So it's got all those rankings in there. So check that out. Only $29.99.
And that's all just the new stuff this year. We don't even have to talk about the normal MLB Data Warehouse stuff, which is always growing and stuff. So lots going on. People are starting to copy our ideas, Tim. That's the sign you know you made it. Other websites are doing stuff that we came up with. So I welcome it. No problem. I'm not going to be out here crying on Twitter about people taking my ideas. It's all good. None of this stuff is like actual like intellectual property or whatever, but it's a good sign that you're doing something right. Yeah.
Trademarked. I'm going to trademark prospect rankings so nobody else
like
can
catcher preview, trademark catcher previews, sue
Suck
everybody.
it, Keith Law. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Take us out of here.
All right. So that's the podcast. Make sure you subscribe. MLB Data Warehouse. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you next time.